Welcome back to another Conductor live stream. Today, we are going to be talking about the future of the Walt Disney Company with now breaking news that just happened the other day. Parks Chairman and Experiences, Josh D'Amaro, got named as the new CEO of the Walt Disney Company, and he will be taking over literally the day after we get back from our Orlando trip with the one and only HaloGelato. But without me rambling on, let me just bring on HaloGelato because it's better to have him on stage than backstage. So let's do it. HaloGelato, welcome in. So glad we can keep doing these live streams because you're my partner in crime when it comes to live streams. I don't know what it is. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, we are. We just like became like the dynamic duo of the live streams because especially after our historic 11th hour live stream marathon we did, I think we're pretty much the king of the hill on that one.
Oh, pretty much. But before we get started, George, where can everyone find you on social media?
Absolutely. You could find me along with my fiance Abby on HaloGelato, where basically we cover all things theme parks from Disney, Universal, Knott's Berry Farm, the cruise line. But we also do videos outside of the theme parks where we cover events or just life in general. So definitely come on over to HaloGelato, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell because there's content always coming out of there. And also, you could follow us on Instagram under HaloGelato as well.
Absolutely. And again, please go check out HaloGelato. It has, like George says, a lot of amazing content. I've actually been on location with him for some of this content, so it's absolutely incredible to see this guy in action. He literally
And boy, do we have that in the next coming of days.
Absolutely. If many of you don't know, me and George will be at DCA tomorrow and Friday. Tomorrow is going to be the Magic Key event, and God help us, cross our fingers that we get that virtual queue system under control because they will be releasing that at noon, which, you know, everyone in their him-haw is going to go on the system at the same time, probably crash it. But George, do you want to explain to everybody before we get to our first video from David Muir on World News Tonight? What's the event that's going to happen in the courtyard tomorrow at the Hyperion? If you can let everyone know.
Yeah. So as far as the information that Disney has released, tomorrow is going to kick off basically for Disney California Adventures 25th anniversary. They're going to have photo opportunities. They're going to have special character meet and greets. And then again, as Conductor was mentioning, a virtual queue system for us to get like a first come, first serve collectible magnet set. I don't know exactly what is of the magnets. I don't know. Disney didn't release anything of that, but it's kind of like a little pop-up kind of celebration. I believe it starts at 2 p.m. And runs till 8 p.m. And the virtual queue starts at noon. But we're going to be there kind of like in the very beginning, just kind of get ourselves at the opening of the park and just kind of like be there and kind of get things scoped out because you never know what Disney's going to drop. You know, they tell us like, oh yeah, you know, everything is going to start at noon, but then who knows? Maybe they'll have something for people just entering in the park, and you'll only know as if you're there and you're scanning in, and then people post it on social media and they say, oh yeah, we got this like limited edition collector something, and it's like, oh man, I wish we would have known that. But Disney at times doesn't like to tell the whole description.
No, they don't, and they like to go spirit of the moment, and it's kind of frustrating as hell. I do have to say, and we got Hen Geek Village in the house. Good to always see him. We got Abigail in the house, and we got Jacqueline in the house as well. So welcome in everybody. But you know, and then what's going to happen Friday is the actual day stuff is going to go nuts. You're going to see George literally You know how people describe themselves a walk in the straight line? George is gonna kinda divert a little bit and kinda go off in left field, 'cause here's the thing, and by all means, all due respect, it gets crazy. For the 70th, you had to see the line to believe it. There was probably, oh my god, there was probably, like, almost 100 of us in line outside on Main Street, lining up for the Emporium to get this interactive key that you can kind of see behind my head on my dresser here, and then other items as well for the 70th. It was a madhouse in hell. If you saw the video, and George has it somewhere on his platform on YouTube, but if you saw the video, literally there was probably like 300 people in the Emporium. It was nuts. So this is the crazy part. Okay, so we have this big, this never before produced popcorn bucket. Okay, supposed to be the Pixar Pal Ferris wheel, and we have that. It's special because it interacts with different elements of the park, both at DCA and Disneyland. Probably interacts with World of Color, maybe the fireworks show at Disneyland.
And
Then we got
it is also worth noting too, folks, that if you are planning on attempting to get this popcorn bucket, it is $50.99. It's not your typical $29.99 popcorn bucket. This one's a little bit more lengthy in price.
absolutely, and I'm going to further clarify tomorrow as well, probably with the supervisor or a manager, because I did see on someone's post, I can't remember where I saw it, but on someone's post, I kid you not, it literally said you cannot use discounts. And when I think discounts, I think Magic Key discounts. So I'm going to further clarify that and let everybody know, probably in the post, on my socials, probably on YouTube as well, for anyone that wants to buy it. The best recommendation I could give anybody for the popcorn bucket, not the clothing, not the pins, but the popcorn bucket, it is the mere fact that is to what's the phrase I'm looking for, George? To mobile order it.
Mm.
That's the best way you could have
That's
the
what I'm gonna
best
do.
chance. Mobile order it. You get 2 per they say customer. I hate using that word. Investor. Okay. Theme park investor. How about that? At least from my words. But they say 2 per customer. But yeah, it's something they've never made before. Like, they've made popcorn buckets never like this, never had interactions like this. So I'm very curious. The shirts, but besides the popcorn bucket, George, because I can ramble on. Besides the popcorn bucket, out of what we've seen so far with the clothing, with the pins, the popcorn bucket, but minus the popcorn bucket, what other item do you honestly think is going to be a challenge to get?
I think it's. Hmm. I mean, it very well could possibly be the pins because from my experience from past events, including the Disneyland 70th, they're going to hold the pins on the back counters during up at the registers for checkout. So you're going to have people that are already going to be getting in line just to get the pins, not to mention the people that already have things in their hands that are going to be going into checkout. And then once they get up there, they're going to say, "Oh, can I have those pins?" You know,
Absolutely.
I think
Because
the pins are going to be the problem.
no, the pins shouldn't be the problem because they're going to be behind the counter. George and I kind of concluded that because people, sorry to say, can't be trusted. So those have to be behind the counter. So we'll have to wait and see. But I'm just going to catch up on some comments before we play this video. We got Mound Lizelle in the house with a $4.99 super chat. Have a good live, fellas. Always a great supporter. Mound Lizelle of HaloGelato and Theme Park Conductor. We got Shane Norani. They mentioned it is really our fault. We should have known the announcement come after the earnings call. That is how they have been doing it recently. Well, actually, the kind of answer that question, me and George actually thought they were going to announce it during the earnings call, but they didn't. So we got Chris West in the house. He says, since they sell them at the popcorn kiosk, no discounts there. Yeah, that's kind of that's kind of a disappointment. Kind of sucks, but hey, what can you do? That's
Mhm.
Disney for you. Ryan C. Vlog says, what's up, guys? Do you guys think now that Josh is CEO, he will want to start with a bang and have a big D23 in August and make his mark? George, I'm going to have you answer that.
Yeah, I'm Ryan. I'm very glad you actually brought that up because I was actually going to bring that up during this conversation. This is going to be a very interesting. Now, this D23 is going to be very interesting. I was skeptical before with it because I thought, well, especially with the parks presentation, we're going to get like updated stuff and to things that are already announced. They're not going to go a full big announcement like they did back in 2024. And that still may be very true. But now this one, more so, Josh is not going to be our MC. He was at the last one because he was chairman of the parks. By the time we get into August, he will already be stepping into his CEO role. So this D23 is going to be very crucial for tomorrow
Absolutely.
because it is now going to be on his watch, not Iger. Even though Iger is still going to be here till the end of the year, December 31st, 2026, all eyes are going to be on tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, and it's also going to be all eyes on whoever is replacing him for chairman of the parks. So they still
A-
haven't made that announcement yet. So
Absolutely.
this is going to, so I don't know if he's still going to play transitional mode where he's still going to be the master of ceremonies for parks while he is the CEO. Um, and could that potentially mean, could they then announce a few surprise big announcements because of these term of events?
No, absolutely. I want to give a big shout out to Chris West for the 199 super chat. Thank you, Chris. No, I 100% agree with you. And there are some candidates I mentioned to George the other morning about, and we'll get into that. I'm just going to read a few more comments so we can play this video for you guys. But Rudio, shout out to Rudio. He's been in the chats lately. Love Rudio. He says pins are already a problem. Then he says, saw a TikTok this morning of people fighting in line at the pin booth by the Lego store in downtown Disney.
Mhm.
Um, and then Ryan Steve Vlog says, I agree, George, because the traders make fake counterfeit pins. Shane Narani says they probably didn't want all the questions being about the new CEO and the new CCO. Chris West says if the place doesn't have a kitchen attached, they don't give discounts. For example, Tropical Hideaway. Um, that's that's very true though. Chris West also asked, "Do you think Ken Potrock gets his position?" Well, we're going to get into that because there's several candidates I have. Alexander Wilson says, "I think the first big announcement will be after the Super Bowl, which will be selling ESPN." I don't think they're going to sell ESPN because they just had a lot of amazing discussions about that during the earnings call. So I don't think they're going to get rid of ESPN, um, at least in the near future. They have too much invested with ESPN and sports are kind of hot. I want to give a big shout out again to Mound Lizelle for a $4.99 super chat. She says, I hope we get an announcement on info regarding D23 ticket sales, dates, and cost of packages. Any thoughts on when they might do that, George, before we play this video?
I think if history is going to repeat itself from the last one, now what they did the last time, because tickets went on sale March 26th. And when they announced all the info on that, it was only a week prior to
Sure.
that. So they only gave us a week to figure out what we were doing. So there is a possibility. And the D23 fan event was August 9th, 10th, and 11th. So now it's going to be the 14th, 15th, and 16th. So if they sold tickets on March 26th, I'm assuming it's going to be around the same time. It's probably going to be late March, early April. And I really wish we would get news sooner than later. But again, if history repeats itself, they're only going to announce it a week before the tickets actually go on sale.
No, 100%. So we'll have to wait and see because the D23 ticket system is a nightmare, and I I agree with George. It's not pleasant trying to get tickets. Last comment is Rudio 1. They won't sell ESPN. They have the Super Bowl next year. That's what I mean. They have too much invested with ESPN to even think about getting rid of it right now. So it's going to be years down the road before that conversation ever comes up. But let's play this video that is courtesy from Good Morning America and David Muir from World News Tonight.
You know, we sit here in the theater that Walt Disney originally built, and we're all familiar with what Walt did. This new documentary, Handcrafted, really shows just the incredible risk-taking that Walt went through. He leveraged everything. He leveraged his home to build Disneyland in a year. You're sitting next to a man who's led this company for nearly 20 years with significant risk-taking, billions of dollars in acquisitions for Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilms, 21st Century Fox. And as you sit here, the new CEO, I'm curious what your appetite is for risk-taking and how do you meet the moment?
First, you're reminding me that I'm sitting next to Bob Iger, one of the best CEOs of all time. It's a bit intimidating.
We know each other well, Josh.
We do know we know each other well. But Bob's a big risk taker. I'm a big risk taker, and that's been true my whole life with how I've approached growing as an individual to how I've approached the business world. And I think you see that on full display today. I mean, just several months ago, we announced a massive expansion in a new part of the world in Abu Dhabi. We did that quickly. We did it ambitiously, and we knew there was a new part of the world to serve.
I saw that image of you, Bob, that you posted.
Yes, walking on the property that will one day be Disneyland. When Josh and I first visited, we stood on that same property.
Okay, just to clarify real quick, this picture right here, we did not see that picture. So
yeah,
I don't know where.
This one we didn't. And when I saw this when they showed, I thought those sneaky cheekies, like because when Iger dropped those photos, it was just of him, but little did we know Damara was with him. So again, they knew this. They knew what they were getting into. They knew who they were all picking for what thing. So when the board said, "Oh yeah, we have a collective vote that we have to do in the next week," yeah, my Aunt Petunia, you know,
yeah, well, pretty much. And Shane Narani hits it right on the head. They didn't want to turn the earnings call into the new CEO and new CCO Q&A session. They didn't want to do that. That's going to actually be for the what do you call it, shareholders meeting.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. The shareholders meeting, that's going to be interesting because that will literally be day one for Damaro and Dana Walden in their new roles. So that's going to be a very interesting shareholders meeting. And I'm wondering too, now that I'm thinking about it, because I just said like history is going to repeat itself. If the shareholders meeting is going to be March 18th, I'm wondering if that's when either before, during the day of, or maybe a little after, they'll drop the D23 ticket information.
Probably, if I had to guess. But we'll have to wait and see.
You look at the sand, you look at the place that you're in, and you dream big ambition, and you think, well, we can do this.
Let me ask about another bet. Disney recently made news for this $1 billion bet in OpenAI, artificial intelligence. People at home certainly know about artificial intelligence, the risks, the rewards. It's made some folks, uneasy about where we're headed. It's going to allow, people who are on social media create their own videos with Disney characters from, Star Wars, what have you, from Elsa to Mickey Mouse. I'm just curious, Bob, how you go about stepping in that direction while at the same time protecting the Disney character, protecting the humans behind the character who created it, the actors, while also embracing where we're all headed.
I'm glad you raised that, because one of the reasons Josh was chosen for this position is I've observed him over the years that we've worked together as someone that views technology as an opportunity and not a threat. And I believe that is critical, because when you look at the history of human beings, no generation of human being has ever been able to stand in the way of technological advance. It happens.
The reason this company is so special is because of how creative we are and the human beings that are generating that creativity. In my mind, that never gets replaced. And in fact, this isn't even theory anymore. This is real. Like AI, to Bob's point, is here, and it's something that we're embracing, and you're seeing it supercharge these creatives in amazing ways. And they've embraced artificial intelligence. If you were to walk over to their studios today and see them using AI, harnessing 70 years of history. This is when the Walt Disney Company thrives, when technology intersects with brilliant people and creativity. And we're in that moment right now.
Disney also made quite a statement about the importance of streaming and entertainment as this company moves forward, with the elevation of Dana Walden to the first ever president and chief creative officer of Disney. Josh, I'm curious what you see in this new role at Disney, and what are you hoping for from Dana Walden?
So I actually was going to pause it as well, George. I know exactly what you're going to say. David Muir actually made a mistake, because the president's role was a thing, but when Chapek got named CEO to take over Iger for the first time, the president's role did exist, but Chapek got rid of that role. But go ahead, George. Sorry.
So there is that. And then also too, because David was also mentioning about like with the entertainment value like of the company. And I believe someone posted, it was either yesterday or today, that Disney Live Entertainment's Instagram has now merged with Walt Disney Imagineerings. So I think that's very interesting, and that's very telling of how both ends of the spectrum of what Damaro's role is and what Dana Walden's role is, of how they're just kind of, again, of how even Damaro said, intersecting together into one.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll start with Dana Walden. She is an incredibly powerful executive. She's got years and years of experience in this space. She's exceptionally creative, and she's a great human being. So Dana and I have had the benefit of working together for the last 5 years or so, and getting to know each other well. I think that the way this organization is set now, with her as president and chief creative officer, is going to be a very powerful partnership. And I think it's absolutely the right step to continue to push us into this next frontier.
As we walk the Disney lot, both men aware of the weight of this role. You joke the weight on your shoulders. Is it a little lighter today?
It is. Yeah, you can't just turn the switch off one day on something that you've been so involved with, and it's such an important part of your life. But I'm just looking forward to quieter moments and quieter days and a little bit more, I don't know, room in my life.
But we know Bob Iger, it's not going to be too quiet, if I had to guess. And for you, conversely, is the weight a little heavier?
Yeah, the responsibility, the sense of responsibility that I have for this role and this company. Of course, I feel the weight on my shoulders. I think I should feel it, but I just feel so fortunate to be in a position to be able to be that next steward for the brand into the next 100 years.
Well, 28 years and many more to come. Congrats, Josh. Well earned. Well deserved.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Bob.
So, I want to ask you, because it almost, how can I put this? It almost seemed like, maybe it's just me though. It almost seemed like since Iger was sitting there next to him, that Josh was saying all the right things and not really saying what he honestly thought, because obviously his boss is sitting right next to him.
Oh yeah,
And
I
he's
mean,
not,
it's
you know,
and I think it's very human nature that when you have your boss sitting there, you're always going to like turn, because if you go back and you look, Demaro kind of like looks over at times at Iger
multiple times.
for like clarification, like, am I saying this right? Am I doing this right? Because even though he got the role, he knows what happened with Chapek. And
Yeah.
he knows that, again, yeah, it is all on his shoulders. So it is feeling the weight, you know? And I still think that Josh has the chops to do something great, but he has to now prove himself. And there's going to have to be a time where Iger, yes, I get it, that he's going to finish up his term. And I know that they're going to be watching him like a hawk, because they're not going to want anything like what happened with the Chapek era, that once Iger is gone, that's it. There's no coming back again for a third time. So I think that is on like the board and the executives and Iger's, mental thinking. But for Josh, at the same time, if you're giving him this opportunity and this role, it's like when a baby bird is ready to fly, you just push him out the nest and let him go, So
No, 100%. So it's just, again, I know a lot of people online are not happy about this decision. But to be honest with you, with Dana Walden right there to help him, running the studio side and more of the side that kind of Josh is kind of a little light in knowledge about. I think the company is in good hands. You got the board right there. You got Dana Walden. Josh is already known for taking care of the parks, the cruise lines, the experiences. So I think we're in good hands. The market did take a little bit of a hit, and we'll look at that. I just want to get to some questions before we get to this next video. It's about 11 minutes long, but it's Ed Ludlow from Bloomberg interviewing James Gorman, the board chairman of the Walt Disney Company, and he kind of goes into explanation about why they chose Josh. But I just want to get to a couple comments real quick that popped up while we're watching the video. We got Cal Waves in the house. He clarified. Matt from Town Podcast thinks Disney will sell ESPN to invest money into parks and experiences. He said it would fund a new Disney decade. George, what do you think about that?
I really think so. I think Demaro has that kind of mentality, that especially since he is, even right now, he's still considered chairman of the parks or experiences, because he doesn't fully go into this all doesn't go into full effect until March 18th. So for someone who knows the brand of the parks and experiences, for someone who works with Imagineering and everything, I hope that transitions well with him as CEO. Now, people could say, well, Chapek was, chairman of the parks, and look what he did when he became CEO. That is very true, but each person is different. And honestly, nothing against Chapek as a person. I honestly didn't care for him when he was chairman of the parks.
Sure.
When Tom Staggs left, Chapek was like, oh my gosh, I was like, this is who we get after Tom Staggs. And honestly, I could see a little bit of Tom Staggs in Demaro. Like I could see that tenacity, so I hope that he brings that same kind of energy. But then when they announced that Chapek was going to be CEO, and I thought, oh my gosh, he was horrible as Parks chairman. How in the world is he doing this as CEO? And sure enough, I mean, Chapek got thrown to the wolves. I agree. You know how it was done. It was kind of in a odd, bizarre kind of way, and he did. Being that he was a numbers guy, you know, he came from consumer products even before the parks, but you know, he had to do what he had to do when we had the shutdown and COVID and everything. But I think he went a little bit too gung ho on how much that he was cutting and not really knowing how much he was cutting, because we were in a worldwide crisis that no one knew how we were going to get out of it, when we were going to get out of it. So when he saw the golden opportunity, yeah, let's cut this, let's cut this, let's cut this, we'll save here. You know, it kind of hurt us in the long run.
No, it did. And to kind of add on to what you're saying, George, is I kind of feel in one aspect, Chapek got the short end of the stick, but on the other hand, he made massive mistakes.
He got the short end of the stick, but he ended up burning the stick.
He did, because he really destroyed Imagineering. And Bruce Vaughn was brought back to lead Imagineering, and it's taken a lot of damage control to fix it to what it is today. Again, they won't 100% recover from what Chapek did, but they're in a better spot than they were when Iger first came back 3 years ago. I'm just going to go through these comments real quick so we can play this video. But Cal Waves.
Really quick before you do,
go ahead.
because you mentioned Bruce Vaughn, and I just wanted to share this. This actually came from Drew, the Disney dude, and he's commenting on one of his posts. So the original post that Drew put out says, and this is, I guess, from like an article that, or someone that, you know, interviewed Vaughn. He said, sure. Bruce Vaughn says Josh D'Amaro is a champion of Walt Disney Imagineering, congratulating him on being named CEO. And quote, Josh has been one of Imagineering's most genuine champions, someone with strong creative instincts who truly understand the power of story, place, and emotional connection. I've had the privilege of working closely with him, and I'm personally grateful that almost 3 years ago, he invited me back to lead Imagineering again. It's a decision that speaks to his belief in creativity, collaboration, and the people who bring these worlds to life. With Dana Walden serving as president and chief creative officer, Josh has an accomplished creative leader helping steward the company's storytelling as it continues to evolve across platforms and generations. I'm also deeply grateful to Bob Iger, whose leadership and belief in creativity helped build the foundation where we stand on today. The road ahead is an exciting one, and Walt Disney Imagineering is ready. And that was the original one. And then Drew responded to that post. And I quote Drew. He says, "This is the endorsement Disney park fans should be excited about. Bruce Vaughn is happy about Disney CEO Josh D'Amaro, and that says all I need to know. The future of Walt Disney Imagineering is in good hands."
Absolutely. It's in really good hands. I know there's people that we know in our content space that don't agree with that decision. But they, at the same time, when they don't agree with it, they are wishing Josh the best, and I think he's going to be a lot better than Chapek.
And honestly, and we have to take this into consideration too. He's not going to be perfect. He's going to make fumbles. He's going to make mistakes, but it's how he gets himself out of it is how is going to perceive. And honestly, as I always say with everything else, you can have your initial upfront opinion. You can have your concerns. You can have your cautions, as we all do. But I say, let's give a full rundown once we actually see him in action.
100%. And I just want to share another comment before we play this video. This is from Shane Narani. She makes a great point. She said a good CEO will delegate and put good people around them. A CEO is only as good as his team. And that's true. That goes for a lot of things, especially in the customer service industry. If you have good management, right? If you have good management that treats employees fairly, gives them creative control and supports them, then the employees that you oversee are only going to do fantastic, wonderful things for the company and their career. So I do agree with that comment. I love that comment. I really honestly do. But here's the video from Bloomberg. George, at any point, if you want me to pause it, because I haven't seen this video yet. So this is gonna be okay. So at any point, if you want me to stop it, just let me know.
Sounds good.
After a 3-year search, Disney's board and its chairman, James Gorman, have named a CEO successor. Josh D'Amaro will be promoted from being Parks chief to succeed Bob Iger in March of this year. And Mr. Gorman joins us now. Sure. Good morning, Mr. Gorman. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, this has absolutely nothing to do with anything. I just have to blatantly just say this.
Sure.
If there was any accent that I could ever have, I would love to have a British accent. I don't know why. I can't make one myself. Like I sound horrible, but I'm just saying, like, in general, that if I could adapt an accent, I would love to talk like a British person.
Oh God, here we go. Oh, I love George for that. I do. I do.
For your time. I mean, let's start with the simple question. Why James D'Amaro?
James?
Well,
Jesus.
It's Josh D'Amaro. But
Josh D'Amaro.
Good morning, Ed.
Good
He's a fantastic.
Okay.
This is already off to a bad start.
Okay. You're gonna. You are set up to have this conversation and an interview. And again, going back to making mistakes. That's a huge mistake right out of the gate, that you don't even know the person that you're talking about.
Especially on national TV. It's one thing to do it on a YouTube live stream. It's a whole different animal when you have probably millions of people watching you. But
now,
go ahead.
And one last thing I will say, just to be fair, I think what happened was because this gentleman here is James Gorman. So I think what he was doing was, since he was talking to a James, but knew that he had to say Josh. But the fact that he didn't recover, see, this is what I'm talking about, recovery here, folks. If he would have said, oh, excuse me, I'm so very sorry, I apologize, Josh D'Amaro. But he just sat there thinking, oh, I said it correctly. And that the fact that Gorman had a correct, and then wasn't there a person that said in the background that said James? Like, who? What was that? Was that actually on the thing, or was that you?
No, that was me.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say that would have been hilarious. That if someone in the background of their studio while they were live, when they went James.
Good God.
Fantastic executive. He's strategic. He's run a huge operations, one which Disney is now investing $60 billion of capital into. He has great creative instincts. He has what Bob Iger calls exceptional taste. He's a leader who's operated all over the globe, including the recent expansion that's going to happen in the UAE, which he did with Bob. He's the person for this time. So Josh is just a.
I'm so very sorry. This is a comment from MH Reels at the very bottom. Bob Chapek did not support his team. I agree with that. And then also, I feel like his team didn't support him. So that goes both ways. And I think that's where the calamity was. And then how it ties back into this, I think from what we're all hearing of what Iger is saying about D'Amaro, what Bruce Vaughn's saying about D'Amaro, everyone is backing Josh up. So that's a good notion.
Absolutely.
Standout executive. We looked all over the world, as you could imagine. We wanted to do this right. We wanted to make sure that whoever got the job beat all comers, and he beat all comers. So we're thrilled.
Mr. Gorman, what mandatory goals, performance targets did you set Mr. D'Amaro over the term of his contract?
Well, we haven't set goals in terms of his contract. He hasn't started. He'll be taking over as CEO at the annual meeting, which is March 18. Bob will be working with him through 2026, guiding and mentoring and helping further develop him. Obviously, he laid out a vision for the board in the various discussions we had, which we had numerous ones. We really got to know Josh and all the other top executives, Dana Walden, Alan Bergman, Jimmy Pitaro, just a tremendous group of 4 executives we had to consider in this process. And, over time, we'll work with him as he settles into the job to lay out what the right strategic moves will be and how we're going to measure ourselves against those. So I'm highly confident in Josh and the team working with him.
Mr. Gorman, there was reporting that Mr. Iger confided in those close to him that he wanted to leave Disney before the end of his contracted term. To what extent did that push the board to move up its succession timeline?
Yeah, I think firstly, let's just talk about Bob. I mean, he's had effectively 2 careers at Disney. The first was an amazing 15-year run where he did deals that, nobody else on the planet could have done, frankly. He worked with Steve Jobs, with George Lucas, with Rupert Murdoch to buy a bunch of studios, which we now oversee 7 studios, which Alan Bergman has been overseeing, by the way, produced under Alan's leadership and working with Dana, and has produced over $6 billion movies in the last 2 years. But Bob did a phenomenal job. When the company got in trouble, and it was before I joined the board, they invited Bob to come back. And really, there were 2 mandates for him. One was to get us through the very difficult post-COVID period and the changes taking place in the linear space with what was going on in streaming and now what is going on in AI. He did that. He really got the company fit for purpose. The second was to make sure if we were to go internal, that the lead executives, and we had 4 of them to consider, would be ready for prime time if and when we went in that direction. We ultimately did. So Bob came to us a little while ago and said, they're ready. I mean, Josh is ready. He's ready to take over. If the board's will is to move on this, I want to step aside and I want to work with Josh as a senior advisor, stay on the board through the end of the year. It's not about the length of the contract that he was under. It's about his role as CEO and then as mentor for the next CEOs. So hats off to Bob. It was very selfless, and frankly, it's what's great for the company.
Did you consider Bob Iger continuing on in a co-chairman capacity or a chairman emeritus type role? I appreciate that there is an advisor agreement here, but does that have a definitive end?
Yeah, Bob will stay as an employee advisor and board member until the end of 2026, and then he'll step off the board. He won't be an employee. He'll continue to consult to the company, consistent with what former executives do. I'm doing that at my former institution, Morgan Stanley. But no, we were not, Bob was not interested in remaining as a chair or co-chair. We needed a completely clean start here, which is what we're having. He'll be there to support and mentor, and we have the right structure for the future. So we're thrilled. And, you look at what's going on now that we've appointed Dana also as president and a new role, chief creative officer. That's to ensure that the leadership team at the heart of this company is creativity and storytelling. And it's to ensure the leadership team brings their absolute best every day, leveraging our IP, telling stories across all of our properties, whether it's cruises or parks, our TV, our ESPN platform, and obviously the studios. Right. So we're really set. We're set for the next decade. I'm very excited about it.
Mr. Gorman, ultimately, you went with Josh D'Amaro for the CEO role in promoting Dana Walden to the CCO president hybrid role. How conscious were you of keeping her, giving her that title to ensure she stays at Disney long term?
Oh, my goodness. If you don't want to keep talented executives, there's something wrong with you. We had an embarrassment of riches. We have, as I said, Jimmy Pitaro, who's run ESPN, is a fabulous executive. Alan Bergman, who's run our studios businesses at 7 studios, has done an unbelievable job. Dana, obviously, incredible executive with a long history in Hollywood, in the industry. And Josh, we want to keep all of them. And I believe we will. I mean, I think this is a win-win for everybody. And I couldn't be more excited about it. So yeah, absolutely. If you have talent, you want to keep them. Finding talent, developing talent is really hard. So when you got it, you do what you can to retain it.
Well, Mr. Gorman, it seemed like a four-way playoff, right, of internal candidates. In that vein, how concerned or otherwise were you about keeping Jimmy Pitaro and Alan Bergman at Disney long-term too?
Well, it was more than four ways. We really approached this. And when I say we, the board, we had a succession planning committee, and I was honored to serve with Calvin McDonald, Sir Jeremy Darroch and Mary Barra, who were the succession planning committee. Then we quickly moved to full board engagement, and each of the other directors played a meaningful role in this. And I couldn't be more grateful for what they did. But, we decided early on, we wanted to look at all comers. We had a list, my goodness, it must have been over 100 people initially that we thought about, we considered, we evaluated. We ended up talking to several executives outside the company because I wanted to be sure, we all wanted to be sure that whoever got this job got it on their merits. This was they had beaten anything that was presented from the marketplace, and we had the best possible candidate. So that included external, it included internal, and included the four that you talked about. And I think all of them are very important to this company, and we're honored to have them in critical roles.
Mr. Gorman, in May of 2019, I was sat opposite Bob Chapek at the opening of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, right? And at that time, the parks chief, by February of the following year, he was CEO. And it was all about IP, his ability to take the growth in parks, the IP in parks, grow it out. Star Wars is a good case study. But to many, and maybe investors had a viewpoint on this, on a co-CEO structure or somebody coming from parks to lead the wider business. Josh D'Amaro has a very similar background to Mr. Chapek. How closely did you look at those parallels in that scenario?
Not especially. We look at the individual. We don't look at, just bios, whatever. I mean, you've got to look at what the individual has done. Josh is incredibly innovative.
Yeah, hold on.
What he's done.
I thought, because I was watching Gorman's face when the interviewer, when he said Chapek's name, and you could just start to see the horror in Gorman's face. He started blinking rapidly. He kept on wetting his mouth, like, oh my gosh, where is this going? And then when he just asked, is there any similarities in the parallels between Josh and Chapek? And he's like, no.
Yeah, he was quick to extinguish it, that's for sure.
Done in the Imagineering space with those creative teams, building the IP into the parks, into the cruises. I mean, this is not an operations job. This is an operations and a creative job. It's telling stories that create incredible experiences for everybody who goes through those gates or gets on one of the ships. And he is incredibly capable at doing that. So I've always said what you look for in CEOs is not just what they've done. That's important, but it's what they're capable of doing. I tell the story. I ran Morgan Stanley for 14 years. I'd never been a trader. I'd never been a banker. You take people for what they can do, building on some of the things they've learned in the process. And I look at Josh as an individual, not as a comparison. And I think he'll be a fabulous CEO. He has all of the skills to lead Disney for the next 10 years.
Mr. Gorman, you were brought in as chairman in part to oversee this succession process. It's now over. You've reflected on your time at Morgan Stanley. What's next for you? Do you expect to remain longer term with Disney, or are you looking at perhaps a move back into the financial industry or something else?
Suggesting I retire, Ed?
Not at all, sir, but there is a great deal of interest in what you will do. Maybe you'll let us know.
No, I'm not. I work with General Atlantic, which is an amazing firm in the financial space, but I'm not interested in going back into the pure world of finance. I want to help the Walt Disney Company and help Josh and the new leadership team and work with Bob on this transition and help the board in making sure we deliver what we can. This company's trading at 15 times earnings. That's nuts. I mean, honestly, there are very few companies that have this quality of assets, this quality of bones, as I call it, than what we have. There are tremendous moats around the businesses. I'm excited about the prospect of what we can see from Disney over the next several years.
So it looks like, in my personal opinion, James Gorman really has faith. The board has faith in Josh. So if you have the board behind you, and you have pretty much all the execs in the company, you have Imagineering speaking out, and they're in full support of Josh, I can't see how this can go bad.
Yeah, I really the way that they're talking about Josh, and I think you also have to think too, this isn't like a fast knee-jerk decision that they did like with Chapek when Iger left abruptly. This was probably thought about for quite some time when Iger came back. When Iger officially came back in 2023, Iger knew he wasn't going to be there for a long period of time. He probably told the board that, like, I will get us out of this hole, this mess, as much as I possibly can, but we have to take into consideration, technically, I was already supposed to be gone.
Yeah.
So we have to find a replacement. So I think, honestly, and I remember Iger saying on that interview on ABC, he said he watched Josh very closely over the last few years and how he operated. And I think Iger just had that in mind. He reported that back to the board. So I think, honestly, everyone has high hopes for Josh, and they just speak nothing of good things about him.
No, absolutely. And like I said, I'm hoping for the best for him, because if he succeeds, the company succeeds, and then the fans succeed. It comes full circle. And there's things that I would like to see Tomorrow do. Obviously, he's got a lot more responsibility than my personal feelings about what should be changed and what shouldn't be changed, even though, George, I know you think different with your hot honey chicken sandwich. But, my whole thing is...
Oh, I'm telling you right now, if history repeats itself with D23 Day at Disneyland, if I'm going to be chasing him back down Main Street, I'm going to say, Josh, literally, you got rid of 2 of my favorite sandwiches. Not him directly, but the company, the parks. Yeah. They got rid of 2 of my favorite sandwiches. Can we get them back, please? Especially the hot honey chicken sandwich.
Hey, but you do have to remember something, though. Now that he's going to be CEO, and at that time he will be the CEO officially, he's going to have a couple more security around him. So it's going to be hard for you to run down Main Street and plow through that.
I think I still can, because even Iger was kind of a little bit free form during the 70th. Like, because I remember, because Tomorrow was on the right and Iger was on the left. Like, they still have their teams with them. But sure, I was so close. I was this close to Iger, and he just had, like, he was swamped with people, and I was so close. And I thought, dang it, I missed him. But yeah, I think, honestly, the hype of Tomorrow, I get what you mean. Like, I think the popularity, if he does this really well, is going to go even higher than what he was as chairman of the parks.
And that's something I'm super excited for, because I know I mentioned earlier in the live stream that I do have some candidates for his position. So I just want to read this for everybody, and George, you can chime in on this as well. You actually brought this to my attention. This article is from a blog Mickey, but I went to this specific section because it says Tomorrow base salary as CEO will be $2.5 million per year. This is the exact same amount as former Bob Chapek, but more than $1 million per year salary that current CEO Bob Iger collects. From there, Tomorrow will receive a one-time long-term incentive award with a target value of $9 $11,705,000. That brings his compensation package up to $12,205,000. But we're not done there. It says tomorrow will be eligible for a long-term incentive award of $26,250,000 for each fiscal year that he is CEO. Each year, the compensation committee committee of the board will be able to adjust, increase, or decrease that amount based on its evaluation of tomorrow's performance. Iger long-term incentive award is currently $25 million. Whereas Chapek had a long-term incentive of $15 million. Tomorrow total compensation package totals $38,455,000 for his fiscal year as CEO. In 2025, Iger collected $45.8 million. In 2024, Iger collected $41.1 million. In his nearly full first year back with the company in the fiscal year of 2023, Iger collected $31.6 million. God, that guy roped in some money, but he had to do a lot of damage control too, so I get it. Additionally, tomorrow will be eligible for an annual performance-based bonus worth up to 250% of his annual base salary. That would be up to $8,750,000 in annual bonuses. Tomorrow top line bonuses of 250% is actually less than the 300% that Chapek was entitled to, but more than the 100% bonus that Iger currently enjoys this year. Josh D'Amaro takes over the CEO of the Walt Disney Company on March 18th. So I find this very, very interesting. Okay, so right here it says D'Amaro top line bonus of 250%, and Chapek's was 50% more at 300%. Do you think it will go up 300% with due time and maybe even past Chapek? But it all really depends on his progress as CEO and his decision making.
I honestly, right now, I do have faith in Josh that there could possibly be a record breaking of that number. And I think that he could potentially surpass Iger with those numbers if he does everything well. I'm not saying perfect, but and I'll actually run some things down the list of how he can surpass to get that those numbers. But I just want to jump over to the chat real quick.
Sure.
We have Big Samus in the house. He says Westcott, and that is actually one of yes. And then Big Samus continues, George, you need to wear a D'Amaro fan T-shirt. I saw some on Twitter. I swear I will definitely get one of those T-shirts.
Oh, you have to.
That if anybody wants to super chat me so I can get a slew full of different ones of D'Amaro shirts, I will wear them in the park. I will, and I swear if I find him, I want a selfie with that shirt.
Hey, I'll second that. I will second that.
And then also to so Big Samus mentioned Westcott, and whether or not that they do Westcott, but just primarily the third Disneyland gate at the Toy Story lot. We're already kind of seeing moves with that, even though Disney didn't confirm that. But with the art bus system, that is actually going to be ending. I believe when is that ending? Is that ending?
So that's ending March 31st, and April 1st will be the first day that they are non-operating.
Okay, so March 31st, the last day of March, the shareholders meeting, and actually the first day that Josh starts is March 18th. Also, around the same time, they're going to be for D23. Everything is kind of happening in March. And is that really a coincidence? You know, that, and again, I'm going to mention this because I mentioned this on a video that I did on HaloGelato with Abby, because she was there with me. When we were there for my birthday at the timeshare, we spoke to an employee who obviously works in that area, and he said to us that the bus system next year is going to be discontinued. And this wasn't announced yet. But he told us that, and he said for a new theme park from Disney and a new hotel. Now, surely that was information that he shared with us that he probably shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Because now the news is starting to come out now. But the fact that he said it's for a new theme park and hotel by Disney, I mean, again, things could be misleading, things could be misspoken, but I don't know. I think that Toy Story lot is destined to be the third gate, and I think getting rid of the bus system is the umbilical cord, if you will, to start that process.
No,
but why would they be doing this now? Right as tomorrow? I mean, that's a huge move. If tomorrow mentions the fact that the Toy Story lot is going to become a third Disneyland gate. Also, a couple other things, really quick, just down the list, and then you can respond to them. Disney getting rid of, Disney under the guidance of tomorrow, getting rid of the reservation system, going back to traditional fast passes. Maybe not like, I miss the paper ones, but
sure.
Even if they give it to us digitally, but just treat it as if it's the paper fast passes. Give us more incentives with our annual passes. You know, I think if he does bring back Magical Express, I think if he did things like this, oh man, that percentage of 250 would spike up in a minute. Because it's not appeasing the executives, it's not appeasing the board, it's appeasing us fans, or as you say, investors, the consumers, you know. So, and then if we're happy, then that makes the company happy, that makes the board happy, and essentially that gives the higher percentage to tomorrow.
No, 100%. So let me start with the art buses that you mentioned. Do I think it's a coincidence that they're going away literally almost 2 weeks after tomorrow takes over? No, that's not a coincidence. I honestly think, and Bricky actually brought this up when I had him on a live stream, was that he honestly thinks that the Toy Story lot will be touched before the Simba parking lot.
No, I'm sorry. I know that Bricky said that, but I'm gonna toot my own horn. I'm sorry. I said that prior to him. That was my major thing, because when you have the rotation of them doing what they're doing right now with DCA, they're not going to do DCA on top of DCA. They're going to complete Avengers, they're going to complete Coco, and they're going to complete maybe Avatar. Let's just say maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But
once they finish that, they're not going to say, okay, let's move to the Simba lot and let's do another wave of expansion. They're not going to do that.
Well, here's the thing. And now that I said that comment during the live, now I'm thinking back actually, because I think he might have said, though, if my mind corrects me, that either they were going to touch the third gate first, or they were gonna look at possibly the Simba lot or the Lilo and Stitch lot. The only reason being, I even mentioned that because during that conversation, it was a long live stream. During that conversation, he did say that
not as long as ours, though.
No, not as long as ours, but a fraction.
But it was long. Yeah.
But he happened to mention that the third gate, a lot of what we might see for that third gate, attractions, pavilions, because we all kind of feel like it's going to be a small version of Westcott. We all kind of feel that in a way, but who knows? IP is going to probably be sprinkled in there, but maybe Josh goes a different
Can you
route.
possibly bring up the I mean, this is an old, not old piece of concept art, but one of the original possible, like when they were promoting Disneyland Forward, when they were showing the Simba lot, where it kind of looked like Disney Springs
Sure.
thing. Because actually the fact that you know, we were talking about Westcott, I do want to showcase this, but in order to do so, I think it's best to show it off.
Are you talking about the concept art for the third gate, or just all of the Disneyland Forward?
Just the Toy Story parking lot. Like there was a piece of concept art that they showcased.
Give me 1 second here. Why? Stupid subscriptions. Hold on.
Oh, and just so you know, the reason why I challenged that comment towards Bricky is because he gives me shit for how I pronounce Coco. So I wanted to give him a little something back.
Oh my gosh, here we go. Give me 1 second. I'm still trying to find an image that's not under a paywall here. Bear with me. Because there's plenty of pictures. It's just, I don't know why, but they want to be under a paywall. Why? I don't know. Okay, well,
let me see if I can. Yeah, because it was like an older.
Yeah, it's on Google. It's just, yeah, it's under a paywall though. It's stupid, like LA Times or something like that.
Okay, here we go. I think I got it. Okay.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
I can.
I'll share your screen if you want to pull it up.
Yeah, sure.
But you're not wrong. But what he was hinting at while you do that, okay. So what he was hinting at before you go into your breakdown is that this third gate, we can actually see attractions from international parks. So he was also saying that we could be another 5 to 10 years away from them even touching the third gate. So he was saying that in the meantime, we finished the Avatar, Jesus. We finished the Avengers attractions. We finish the Eastern Gateway. We finish Coco. We finish, or at least we're halfway through Avatar before they even touch this or even consider touching it, or even just touch the Simba parking lot or the Lilo and Stitch parking lot. Because he thinks, from what I remember, he thinks this is minimum 10 years. Because we all kind of, and George, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he was saying, or you were saying, that this is part of a 30 or 40-year plan.
Yes, Disneyland Forward is literally a 40-year project, so to speak. There's not one individual thing that claims to be Disneyland Forward. So everything that they will be doing, whether it's in the current parks, building a new park, updating Downtown Disney, more hotels, more restaurants, is all going to be part of Disneyland Forward for the next 40 years.
100%. But go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're fine. But no, I definitely agree with Bricky. Actually, I do. I think honestly, 10 years, I think sounds about right. Now, when he said 10 years, did he say like start on it or like completed? Do you remember?
Well, I think again, if my memory serves me correct, I think he said started. The only reason being is because I think at Disneyland, because they have a lot of R&D already from international attractions that these companies have built for their parks. But I think I think the Disney company wants to see what Abu Dhabi comes up.
And I was just that's what I was getting to my point. You just literally took the words right out of my mouth. I think I agree with Bricky that if he did say start in 10 years, I think so. I think that's going to be, because again, this is a 40-year project. If they do everything right now, as much as we would love for them to do it all right now,
Sure.
What are they going to then do in the many decades to come? They have to stretch this out. So I agree with Bricky in that statement, because one, that gives some time. And here's the thing: you don't always want to constantly see construction walls up every time. You
No.
have to give some breathing room. So that's even another thing. Once they're done with Coco and Avengers, I'm going to leave Avatar out for right now, because,
Sure.
and we could even get into that, because that's a whole nother can of worms. Especially with Coco, and that's over by the pier, which essentially is eventually going to lead over into the bridge that'll cross over to the Simba lot.
Sure.
When they open Coco, that's already. See, I could just see Bricky just making fun of me right now. Like I'm assuming the way that I'm saying Coco, he'll probably diss me for it. But they're going to want to have that open. Can you imagine doing another round of construction? Because that's going to even be a longer process to build that bridge. Can you imagine that construction literally right after Coco opens? And it's going to be a fan favorite. It's going to be packed over there.
Yeah.
They're going to want some breathing room in between.
Well,
that is DCA to be fleshed out a little bit.
Sure.
And I would say, to Bricky's point, go over to Disneyland, do anything like add an attraction, maybe update something with Galaxy's Edge, add an expansion maybe to Fantasyland, maybe do something with Tomorrowland, God willing, or do something with the Lilo and Stitch parking lot. Then I think by that time, and then give a little more breathing room. And then I think then you can then look into for the Toy Story lot.
Well,
the third gate. And then after that, then the Simba lot. I feel like the Simba lot is going to come kind of last in that sense.
Well, that's something I was going to touch upon. Do you think it's possible that what do you call it? They start work on the Toy Story parking lot the same time they touch the Simba parking lot? Like hit
the ground running, like as soon as.
Yes. Because
I think so. I really do. I actually agree with that, because I don't think they're going to just build a bridge and then say, okay, now we're going to work on something. I think they're going to have a purpose why they're building that bridge.
Well, see, that's exactly what I was getting to, because if you look at the concept art from the bridge that's going over harbor, that's coming from the Eastern Gateway parking structure, and do keep in mind, folks, this parking structure is going to have 6,000 spaces. That's like 2,000 more spaces than Mickey and Friends and Pixar Pals put together. So that's 2,000 more spaces. Okay, so my whole thing is, if you look at that bridge, though, we're going to see multiple bridges of this magnitude going different directions. You'll have one going over harbor, then you'll have another one going from what I think. So let me ask you this, because this is something I didn't know. Bricky's idea about this is that he honestly thinks, and I respect his opinion 100%, is that the Garden Walk is going to be an extension of this third gate, possible Westcott idea. Or do you think it's going to be
I think
hotel like the Contemporary?
No disrespect to Bricky, but honestly, I agree with your idea of it being for hotels. I think the placement of Garden Walk is a very strange structure to have a theme park.
Yeah, I again, I love all the different opinions, but when you look at it, I'm going to pull up Google Maps here. When you look at it, it's just. Hold on. Let me.
And before you actually take that off, really quick, and you can get to your thing. But I just wanted to showcase this really quick, because a lot of people were saying this could be a West Coast Disney Springs.
Sure.
And maybe we're looking at it at a wrong angle. Now, again, this is an early concept art that just This isn't accurate. So folks, so just remember, this was a piece of concept art that was supposed to get the city of Anaheim on Disney's side to grant them the green light for Disneyland Forward. So definitely take this with a grain of salt. But if you actually look at this piece of concept art, we're thinking West Coast Disney Springs.
Sure.
But when I went back and I looked at this piece of concept art, I'm kind of seeing a little bit of a West Coast World Showcase.
That's exactly how I see it. And one thing, I don't know if I said it during the live stream to Bricky, because when he originally did the video, we didn't play the video all the way through because we were already hitting the 4-hour mark during our live, was that if you watch his entire video on the third gate and his ideas about it, he said the center, he's like, they're going to leave that empty. I'm like, that's kind of weird just to leave it empty and maybe have like a booth or something right there. Personally, I'm not saying we would get a spaceship Earth because that's totally ridiculous. That's a copy and paste, and I hate that. But the other idea we had for Westcott is like this big giant spear, and that was going to be our version of Westcott. I'm going to actually see if I could find a picture of that, but he kind of thinks that center area surrounded by water is going to be vacant. I'm like, that's just weird. Now, he did say, though,
are you saying that like it was supposed to be like the replica of they have it done Epcot. It's not, obviously it's not Spaceship Earth, but it's the thing that's in front of Epcot. It's like that crystallized oh God, I forget the name of it. But really quick, I just want to give a shout out to David that's in the chat. Welcome in, David. So glad to see you. Yeah, we're doing fine. We hope you are well as well. And then, of course, we got Amusement Park Pirates. Welcome in.
Let me see if I could pull up that. Oh, lovely. It's hard to find it now. Let me see.
Let me see if I can find it. I might be 2 for 2.
Hey, okay. I think I kind of found it here. Hold on. Yeah, I did. Okay. This is only like just looking at the spear building, but this is what I'm talking about right here. Hold on. Pull it up. Like, I'm going to pull up multiple pictures, so bear with me on that one. Let me see if he has a better picture than that. Okay. This is a good... Why did I do that? Stupid. Okay, I'll just leave it there. Let me share my screen real quick. Okay, here we go. Okay. This spear building, you see that? That would be our version of Spaceship Earth right there. That.
Okay. I think I see. Okay.
So this is what Westcott was supposed to look. You see how the big giant spear, and we don't have, that what Epcot has. This would be our West Coast version of Epcot, but obviously Westcott.
But now, do you think they would still go that route if they have no futuristic part of that park? If it is solely World Showcase, would they go that route?
That's a good question. I mean,
I like that. I think that would be a great centerpiece.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if they're not, unless they do incorporate some kind of futuristic side to it. But see, that's the problem they're having with Tomorrowland now. And even Epcot is having issues. That's why they don't call it Future World anymore. That's why they have like the neighborhoods of, Nature World and Celebration World. It's like Disney doesn't really know what to do when they're using like futuristic technology for a land or a park.
Okay.
I remember that concept.
So this concept is beyond awesome. My only problem is it screams Epcot to me. So again, I love this idea. Do not get me wrong. I think this would work for our Westcott. Just get rid of Spaceship Earth and build that big giant spear.
What if they did something that represents like culture? Because if it was strictly for World Showcase and maybe not countries, but like even if it was continents or something, like what if they did something, I don't know what you would do, but like maybe like a giant,
Well,
I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
yeah.
But
Well,
just to
oh, sorry.
that early piece of concept art. I mean, I know people were thinking West version of Disney Springs, which I hope to God. If Damaro wants to get wins, do not waste 75 acres on a West Coast Disney Springs. Please do not do that.
No, I don't think personally the way malls are dying out, I hope that's not his direction. I would honestly hope so. But one of the things that wasn't in that ABC clip, and I think it was either on that clip or it was in a statement by Damaro himself, was that he is going to also look at bringing back original ideas. So I don't know what in the hell that meant, but this could be part of that. Maybe. There was a statement by him somewhere online, and George, if you find it, let me know, and we'll share the screen. But I think it came out of his own mouth that was in an article that he stated that he was going to revisit original concepts. He was going to bring back original things for the parks. So I don't know where that statement is. If anyone in the chat knows where it's at, send it to me on my Instagram in the messages, either to me or George from HaloGelato. But I almost have like a 99% sure there was a statement put out in the last couple days about that. But you know, this would not be such a bad idea. My only problem is, okay, so let me go back to Google Earth. Well, not Earth, but Maps. I know it looks grainier than shit. Sorry. Is that this is the Toy Story parking lot right here. And where I'm talking about and where Bricky's talking about, Garden Walk right here. Right in the middle. Right across Catella right here. And then
yes, if they wanted to if they wanted a combined that and maybe like add a bridge across Catella.
Well, that's what he was talking about, and then probably buying up these hotels, but instead of getting rid of them, Disney would repurpose them into Disney resort hotels.
Oh yeah. And honestly, that would be perfect because they can literally stay there and then they have easy adjacent to just walk over the bridge. They go through security, walk over the bridge, and they have their own separate entranceway into the third gate.
So if that's the case, okay, so again, third gate right here, this is his idea. Third gate right here. For what I understand, this would be part or an extension of the third gate right here, and then possibly up here and maybe over here, maybe. This corner, though, if I'm not mistaken from what he said, and I'm probably hosing it up.
And really quick before you finish that, hold your thought, please. The parking lot that's behind that, is that the parking lot to the Garden Walk? What is that?
This is the Eastern Gateway right here.
Oh, that's the Eastern Gateway. Okay. I couldn't see because it was cut off the screen, so I wasn't sure what that bottom part was. Okay.
Yeah, no worries.
Cool. Okay, so I apologize. Go ahead.
No, you're good. And this corner right here that kind of faces Catella and Harbor, I kind of feel like they're probably gonna buy this up. And I'm gonna be honest with you, this would be my idea since we're going off Bricky's idea. I would tear down this whole corner right here and build a really, really nice hotel and have an entrance go right into the third gate. Literally.
Okay, so are you? So let me ask you this:
sure.
Of what you just described, would you make Garden Walk an extension part of the third gate with a bridge, or would you have that as the hotels and still keep the third gate at 75 acres? Because if you add an extension bridge, that would add more to the park. Garden Walk would probably add. What would you think? Like another 30 acres?
I think I'm not exactly sure how big Garden Walk is, George. If you can search that on your phone, I'm not sure if they would do that because if you're looking at it, quite frankly, it's skinny. It's
Yeah.
extremely skinny. What I would rather see, since again, this is going to be a 40-year project of Disney with partnership of the city of Anaheim, and the fact that the Angels, the MLB team, is possibly eventually going to move from their location to a new location because their stadium's old, and they're basically putting band-aids on that stadium at this point. If they tore down Angel Stadium, again, just keep this in mind. This is the third gate right here. Okay. If we go across Anaheim here, this is Angel Stadium right here. This is how big this footprint is. So just keep this in mind. This is Angel Stadium and the humongous parking lot that Angel Stadium has. If we go back over here, what is literally right next to the third gate that you can literally buy up this whole footprint right here? Literally buy all this up, the convention center, all that nonsense, and move all this crap. Well, not crap, sorry. Move all these buildings. Move all these buildings to the footprint of where Angel Stadium is at. And George is dying. I can hear him in the background.
Sorry, go ahead.
But if you had this right here, the Toy Story parking lot, and you had this plot of land right here, that would make a massive, and I mean massive, third gate, and we could really see the full potential of what Westcott was originally supposed to be. If we don't those plot
I'm
lands.
so very sorry. I apologize because I was in the middle of laughing. Would you turn the Angel Stadium into like a brand new convention center?
I would.
Okay, so you would just do the old switcheroo. You would turn the Angel Stadium into a new convention center, which someone had mentioned. I think it was Cody that mentioned it, or someone mentioned it. Welcome in, Cody, by the way. You know, with the OC vibe and everything, and if they add any like Skyway or anything that would interconnect, you know, that would be a massive footprint that would be an upgrade for the convention center, because then you can take the transportation that's part of the OC vibe from the new convention center that would be in Angel Stadium to the Honda Center, you know, or if it's big enough, maybe they wouldn't even need the Honda Center, but if they wanted to utilize it, they could. And scrap the old convention center if Disney was to buy that up, because I remember Bricky talked about that too in an older video. I remember when he was covering like the Disneyland Forward before I think it was even greenlit, and he had mentioned the possibility of Disney buying up the Anaheim Convention Center. And scrapping that, and that would be a major. Can you imagine combining Garden Walk north of that parking lot, and then of how it shows on Google Maps, and then the Anaheim Convention Center west of the parking lot? So you would basically have like a backwards L.
Yeah.
That you had. Yeah, I would do what you said. All this into theme park.
Yeah.
And then north of Garden Walk, that would be for the hotels.
Well, see, again, it's a 40-year project, but I like this idea a lot better. You have the Toy Story parking lot. You have this huge plot of land right here.
And I think that's why it is a 40-year project, because it's not just the fact of Disney building a theme park. They have to buy up all this stuff in order to do this, and that takes time.
That takes time, permits, all sorts of nonsense, meetings, this, that. Because a lot of citizens that live around Disneyland, they already complain as it is with fireworks and all that. Well, I kind of say, like George likes to say, you bought when a lot of those homes, not all of them, but a lot of those homes, they kind of bought into knowing that they're going to live next to a theme park. So that was kind of
think that they were going to hear.
Exactly.
What? Like you think everyone's going to sit in front of a campfire holding hands singing Kumbaya? Like,
no.
it's like you're going to hear laughter, you're going to hear screaming, you're going to hear fireworks, you're going to hear music. You don't like it? Go move to the Bay Area. Like,
Exactly.
you know, and
No,
that's why I say honestly, all that residential area can go toodaloo as well. And as I said, I'd be more than happy to be by tomorrow and help him sign those 90-day eviction notices, because I'd be coming in like a wrecking ball.
you would. No, you would. Seriously. But I like this concept art a lot, or concept a lot better. Toy Story parking lot, land adjacent to Toy Story with the convention center, all that. They level all this to the ground. We get a true Westcott. Garden Walk turns into another hotel like the Contemporary. The monorail gets extended, and literally Angel Stadium goes away, gets relocated, which the team has been talking about for years and years and years. And this massive footprint turns into a newly designed convention center with more entertainment space, more restaurants, more low income housing. You have enough space to fit all that stuff. Then you got the Honda Center with the OC vibe happening with all that they're doing. They want to build a gondola system. I think 40 years, they can easily make this happen. And I mean, seriously.
I think so. I think the 40-year goal is for Disneyland to own most of that Anaheim area. And actually, and even though I kind of like I'm sarcastic and I joke, I think even that's on Disney's radar to get some of that residential area as well, along with other businesses surrounding it. So I agree, Cody, when you say they just need to buy out the residents. I think that's also part of the 40-year plan.
No, 100%. I think that will happen. And that's currently what I'm thinking. That's what I want to see Disney do. Now, when it comes to tomorrow's, not really. Well, tomorrow's part of it. But let me pivot to this real quick, because I know I said we would talk about it. Is who would succeed tomorrow's spot? And my number one person, you had one person, I had one person. My person would be Bruce Wayne.
I think your person is a little bit more realistic, and
So
mine is a little bit far-fetched. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Bruce Vaughn would be an excellent choice for Josh's position of chairman of Parks and Experiences. I think he's done a phenomenal, and I mean phenomenal, job bringing back WDI Imagineering basically from the ashes that Chapek left, and really kind of commingled Imagineering. Really has done wonders with it, and they kind of showed it during the ABC news segment with
he even wrote praising tomorrow. Like he actually put out a statement, and I actually love that idea. I know it was brought up a time or two, but it was kind of like an afterthought until you brought it to my attention yesterday when we were on the phone. And I really think that's a great idea. And here's the thing too. They don't have time to mess around on replacing the chairman of the parks. See, they did for the CEO because they still had a few years. Now they have a little over a month, because Damaro steps into the CEO role on March 18th, which means whoever is going to succeed the chairman of parks also will be starting on March 18th. So 100%. They have to come up with a chairman of parks before March 18th.
100%. And that's my personal choice. That's someone I would personally like to see become or get promoted into Josh's position. But George, you also had an excellent candidate as well. And then I kind of want to speculate on your candidate a little bit more, but go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so a lot of people were mentioning, like, a few other people, Ken Potrock and everything. Um, and then you had mentioned Bruce Vaughn. My person that I would choose to run parks, and again, this is a little bit far fetched, but they recently kind of brought him on for consulting with newer generation for Imagineering, and that would be WDI veteran Joe Rohde. And I think honestly, he would be a phenomenal fit because he knows the parks. He worked in Imagineering. He spearheaded Animal Kingdom. He spearheaded Disney's Alani in Hawaii. He's a driven factor. He's attention to detail. And I think he would do wonders for the company. Now, is Disney going to offer him that? I don't know. Would he take it? That's an even bigger unknown. I think your choice for Bruce Vaughn is a little bit more likely, being that Vaughn is currently like actually working in the company right now. Um, and they already, probably offered him an arm and a leg to come back. So why not just promote him to chairman of parks?
Well,
Um, so,
okay.
so I agree with that.
Well, here's the thing. I think if Bruce Vaughn was brought in to take over Josh's old spot as Parks chairman, I think Joe Rohde could take over Imagineering. One thing that was actually brought to my attention on a video I did, I think the other day, it was either a live stream or a video. I think it was the video when Tomorrow was announced, and I read the article from the Walt Disney Company website, was that it's possible also, because we did hear about a year and a half ago. I don't know if you remember this, George, but it was something that was kind of sparking people's interest at the time, that we were that they were looking at bringing the head of Imagineering for one of the international Asia parks to come over and run the Disneyland Resort, and be in charge of projects for that. So do you think that guy could take over Josh's spot?
I remember hearing something like that. I mean, that's a possibility. I don't know if they would actually take that big of a risk, and maybe like a transitioning thing if they were to ever go that route, but I think they're kind of out of that time. Again, not to rush into a person or anything, but I think they'll have someone internally that's already like over here in the States. But I mean, I do like that idea though. But Amusement Park Pirate says, here is my thought. Josh become chairman of the parks in May of 2020. And I think whoever the next one is may get announced in May too. So do you think they would announce a parks chairman around 2 months after the fact that Josh is already CEO?
It's possible. I'm not going to say it's not impossible, but my only concern is, since again, they're kind of rushing to appoint positions. Do they have someone that is capable of doing two different positions, one higher than the other, as a temporary status until they make an official announcement who's actually permanently going to take that spot? That's my question to that statement from Amusement Park Pirates. I'm not saying that it's impossible. They could do it, but I think it would be more beneficial. And who knows? Again, spitballing, during the shareholders meeting, they could announce it. They could say who's taking over Josh's spot. They could do it. They got until March 18th. Or wait. When's the shareholders meeting? I'm sorry.
March 18th.
Oh, okay, so it is March 18th.
Mm-hmm.
So they got until March 18th to find a decision, and it seems like, again, like I said early on, the board is in full support of Josh. Bruce Vaughn, head of Imagineering, is in support. Executives throughout the company are in favor of Josh. Even Dana Walden herself is in favor of Josh running the company. So in all reality, since everyone's on board with this, I could see an announcement either right before the shareholders meeting or during the shareholders meeting, that we're going to hear words from not only Damaro, but we will hear probably words from Walden. We might hear words from Iger as well. Who knows? But it's going to be an unusual shareholders meeting. It's going to be long. But one thing I could tell you is, like I discussed my candidate, and like George even mentioned, because he has a deeper dive into these topics than I do, but I think Bruce Vaughn would be the absolute number one choice. Again, Bruce Vaughn really brought Imagineering from the ashes from the Chapek era and really brought it back to life. So I think Bruce Vaughn being chairman, it still gives him the opportunity to oversee Imagineering. So he's not technically leaving Imagineering in a way, but he's stepping up his position where he could still keep an eye on them and keep an eye on whoever takes over Imagineering, whether it's Joe Rohde
Now,
or somebody else.
correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, the board would obviously have to approve it, but would then
Sure.
Josh have a say-so in who replaces him as chairman of parks? Because if that is the case, then I could see Bruce Vaughn. I think if it was up to Josh, I think Josh would pick Vaughn.
It's more than possible, but like we heard from James Gorman, Iger is still going to be part of the board through 2026.
Yeah.
So, and the fact that they have to make a decision pretty soon here on who replaces Josh, I don't know Iger's position on Bruce Vaughn. I don't know what that whole scenario is, but
well, I think Iger was the one that brought Bruce Vaughn back.
Okay, so
I think that was actually one of his first major decisions when he came back, when they got rid of Chapek.
Okay, so if that's the case, was he also part of the decision to have Joe Rohde come back and consult?
I'm for sure. As I said, I think the board still has to approve it, but I think Iger made a lot of those suggestions, I would think.
Well, see, that again, that just further makes me curious if, again, Bruce Vaughn will take Josh's spot and Joe Rohde might take over Imagineering. And who knows, Joe Rohde might want to take over Imagineering. I don't know. I just think out of all the candidates, you mentioned Ken Potrock. Ken Potrock, as much as I respect the time he's been at Disney,
yes,
I don't think he could be Parks chairman. I'm sorry.
I don't think so either. I don't. I respect the guy. I think he did amazing work as president of the Disneyland Resort.
Yeah.
But to hold a higher thing like Parks chairman, I don't know.
Well,
I can't foresee him going on stage and hyping people up the way Josh did. See, and that's another thing too. You're going to have another hyper-upper, so to speak. I know that's not a word, but I think honestly, Bruce Vaughn could do that.
I think so, because we saw it. Bruce Vaughn did hype people up. When he came on stage with Josh D'Amaro, he did do that. So I honestly think Parks chairman, in charge of parks, in charge of experiences, I think Bruce Vaughn is literally the best choice besides Joe Rohde. I think Bruce Vaughn is like the number one choice I would choose because, again, that position that Josh was in is, again, parks and experiences. And I think someone from WDI Imagineering needs to take that position. Someone like a Ken Potrock, I don't feel like really can handle. I think Josh was in charge of 11 different parks, I think it was, as chairman, or 10. I forgot what it was.
4, 6.
Was it 10?
7, 8, 9, 10. Is it 12? Wait. 4, 2, 2, 1, 1, 12. I think it's 12.
So 12 parks. I don't think Ken Potrock, who was the president of the Disneyland Resort, can honestly handle 12 parks. and then handle the Disney Cruise Line as well. We've seen Bruce Vaughn. Real, like I said, I'm praising the guy because he really has done wonders for Imagineering. He's traveled all over the world to check on Imagineering projects around the world, whether it was for Disneyland Paris for the World of Frozen with the with the Walt, or not Walt, I'm so sorry, with the Olaf animatronic, to other parks, collaborating with the international parks, whether it was the Asia parks or Disneyland Paris. He's been actively involved with Imagineering at Walt Disney World. So I think it would be absolutely perfect to choose Vaughn as the next parks chairman. So I would like to see that announcement. And George, this probably is better for you to answer. Cody asked, "What's Bruce's experience like?"
Yeah, so actually, yeah, because I did see that. So I wanted to bring up a little bit of info on Bruce Vaughn, so that way I could actually read it off accurately.
Sure.
So right now, Bruce Vaughn, President and Chief Creative Officer at Walt Disney Imagineering. So currently, right now, Bruce took over one of John Lasseter's roles, so to speak. That when he was head of both studios, he also was chief creative officer for Walt Disney Imagineering. So, as president and chief creative officer of Walt Disney Imagineering, Bruce Vaughn leads the global multidisciplinary team behind the concept, design, and delivery of Disney's theme parks, attractions, resorts, cruise ships, and entertainment experiences. Collaborating with peers across Disney Experiences and the company, Vaughn focuses on innovative ways to transfer Disney's extensive collection of beloved franchises, characters, and stories into groundbreaking, immersive experiences that delight guests around the world. Vaughn began at Imagineering in 1993 as senior technical specialist and went on to roles of increasing responsibility. Beyond his work at Imagineering, he has been involved in efforts across various divisions of the Walt Disney Company that includes consumer products, feature animation, location-based entertainment, music, television, and theatrical. And then that's when it says Vaughn departed Imagineering in 2016 to serve as CEO and CCO of Dreamscape Immersive. Excuse me. He later moved on to Airbnb, where he was vice president, experimental creative production, and rejoining Imagineering in 2023. So, I mean, since 1993, I mean, he has a good, I mean, lengthy rapport and portfolio.
He does. And just real quick, MH Real says he has to go. Have a wonderful night. Enjoyed the stream. Well, we enjoyed having you here as well. But again, if you look at the history, like you just read for Bruce Vaughn, he's been with the Walt Disney Company since 1993. Okay.
So it went from 1993 to 2016, and then 2023 to present.
So again, I in a way, it kind of he has the expertise to do so, because DeMauro himself got hired with the company in 1998. He was hired with the Walt Disney Company.
DeMauro, yeah, 27 years?
27 years. Okay, so again, I know I sound like an absolute broken record, but I think Bruce Vaughn will do wonders if he's named chairman. I don't see why DeMauro would not choose him. Now, with all the execs that could be a possible choice, is there someone besides Ken Potrock? Because I know throw that name out there, but would there be anybody else you would absolutely be surprised Josh wants besides Bruce Vaughn to run his position that we're not even thinking of?
That I would I'm trying to think. It definitely is going to be someone who knows the product of parks, who knows how Imagineering is represented. And also, too, you have to think there was a dark time in Imagineering where they, the board and everything has too much say so in their collective juices, so to speak. So I think Josh has, if he can actually unkink that, and the chairman of the park. So I think honestly, I would choose someone who has actually worked in Imagineering.
Yeah, see
I don't
that
know, like even if you were to go, like, I mean, he's not my first pick. Very nice guy, but like Tom Fitzgerald, or Chris Beatty,
yeah.
someone who currently is in the wings of WDI, I think would do wonders for chairman of parks.
See that's some I also look at. But see, my problem is as
But I
well.
still would pick Bruce Vaughn over them.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. That's literally what I mean. I would want to see that, because my problem is, obviously, when you look at it, the way the board has set up this new era of leadership, with Damaro becoming CEO, Dana Wallen becoming CCO, and that's as close as we're going to get to a dual CEO role that the Walt Disney Company itself started with Walt and Roy. I would honestly want to think that, because obviously Dana Walden's going to handle the studio side and all that, and no matter what Josh's responsibilities are going to be as CEO, you better believe that he's not going to let Imagineering and the parks go. Like, I mean, I still kind of feel like he's going to be heavily involved in that, even though he has all these other responsibilities. And I think the only way to kind of distance himself from that is put in someone that he knows and trusts, like a Bruce Vaughn, into his old position. That way he wouldn't have to worry about overseeing it every other minute.
Yeah, I agree. And Amusement Park Pirates, his choice is Scott Trowbridge.
What do you think about that?
I think it's not a bad choice. I mean, he did oversee Galaxy's Edge. I mean, I guess you can kind of take that as a positive and or negative. But Scott Trowbridge, outside of Disney, created, I think, one of the greatest theme park attractions of all time, and it's not even in a Disney park. Yeah. I'm gonna let the chat throw it in there. Do you know what attraction I'm referring to? Scott Trowbridge worked on one of the greatest theme park attractions of all time, but it's not at a Disney park.
Interesting.
I want to see if anybody gets it.
Post in the comments.
Peter, there you go. Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
He ran literally the whole division of creating the Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man at Islands of Adventure. And absolutely. Yeah, so that was a huge feat.
100%. But
also to Amusement Park Pirates as well, I do believe he did have I think he did also have a hand in Harry Potter as well.
Interesting. Okay, so let me ask you this, since the chat's kind of going off the rails here, and I love it. If you had a choice, let's say you're Josh, okay? If you had a choice between two guys, Scott Trowbridge or Bruce Vaughn, who would you choose?
I mean, I love Amusement Park Pirates' choice of Scott Trowbridge, but I still would have to go Bruce Vaughn. I don't know. It's something about him. I just have a more safe value to how he would run things. I don't know why. Because the fact that Iger pulled him and offered him probably a blank check. I don't even know how much the undisclosed amount was, but it had to be a lot, an astronomical amount to pull him from his job to have him come back into Imagineering, even Iger had full faith in what Vaughn was doing.
See, that's what I mean. Well, let me ask you this: since the name came up with Scott Trowbridge, if Bruce Vaughn left Imagineering to take Josh's role, do you think
I think Scott Trowbridge would do well running Imagineering?
And then where would you, as puzzle pieces are being moved, what would you do with Joe Rohde? Would you make him more of a permanent basis to Imagineering, or how would you do that?
Well, here's the thing. I actually kind of taking it back, but not. I technically, if that would be the case, I would pick Joe Rohde as a head of Imagineering. I just don't know. Exactly. That's where I don't know if he necessarily would take it. Where we're with Scott, he's already working eternally in the company. So I think he would be a more guaranteed bet than Rohde. But
Cody asked this question, George, you would know this question. He asked, what job did Bruce come back from? Like, where did Iger pull him from?
I thought it was something. It was either the Airbnb or it was NASA. Let me double check on that. Let me double check.
I'm almost certain it was the Airbnb, but I can't swear on that worth my life because I can't remember. I barely can remember what happened yesterday, folks. But that's just how.
But you know what? Time is moving so fast. I think that's like all of us now.
Yeah, pretty much. But
I'm just going to double check.
Sure. No, absolutely. But I think that this is what I would do. Okay. Fixing these issues, I would promote Bruce Vaughn to Josh's spot. I would offer Joe Rohde the full-time position to take over Imagineering, and if he didn't want it and he still want to be on a consultant basis where he's not basically tied like full scale tied into Imagineering, but he still wants to be part of it as a consultant basis, then at that point I would offer Scott Trowbridge the opportunity to run Imagineering. And that's how you fix that problem.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Cody, of what it's saying here, it was the Airbnb as vice president of experimental creative products, focusing on innovative experiences in the hospitality sector.
Okay, that's what I mean. Hospitality and what does that signify? He has knowledge of Imagineering, which is theme parks and experiences. But on the other hand, he has his other experience being a chairman of, Airbnb, which is what does that cater to? The Disney Cruise Line. So that's like a win-win.
And honestly, even Disney hotels.
That's what I mean. It's a win-win situation. Anybody else would be like stupid to take that role because then it would suffer. I don't mean to be a downer, but I'm just being honest.
Well, no, I think you want to pick the strongest. And honestly, so far, Disney is going down that path. And I think it would be a very missed golden opportunity if they don't utilize Bruce Vaughn, or at least offer him. If he turns it down, that's one thing. But the fact of not offering it to him, that's another. Oh, but I also wanted to welcome in Mouseward Bound. I know they were posting in there, but I wanted to welcome them in.
Absolutely. The last question I have for you is, and I'm trying to think because I just had it on the top of my mind and then I lost it. I'm trying to think. Okay. This is the last thing. As Josh takes over the CEO role and Iger steps away to a point, with all the change we're seeing at Lucasfilm, okay, does Josh D'Amaro, how can I put this? Does he follow the footsteps of Iger and literally meddle in things at Lucasfilms, or does he let Lucasfilms be Lucasfilms and let them do their own projects and maybe consult once in a while, but not meddle in things?
Honestly, I think it depends on how Dave Filoni and I'm going to have to eventually get her name sooner or later, but the one that's going to be kind of being the co-president, which again, we kind of saw the signs even with Lucasfilm when they made that move.
Yeah.
Because it seems like I think that Disney now realizes how much of a kind of a little bit of a hole they were in, going down, the rabbit hole. And I think they're just really trying to fix everything on all sectors. So I think depending on how Dave Filoni and the co-president will be, I think if Damaro has full faith in them and they know what they're doing, that it may be wise to let them do their thing. If they kind of pull what Kathleen Kennedy was doing at the back end of her career, then I would, as a CEO, have to step in.
Yes, and actually, I actually made a mistake because I don't know if it would be Damaro doing it or it would be now Kathleen Kennedy oh my God,
Dana Walden.
Dana Walden doing it.
Well, I still think Damaro still has to be part of that conversation, but I think they would have to talk through Dana first. Because she would then be handling the studio side of things.
So, just so you know the second name, so there's Dave Filoni and Linwood Brennan.
You expect me to remember that name?
No, but I'm just saying it for the point of reference right now.
What is it? What is it? What is it again?
Linwood Brennan.
Linwood?
Yeah, here, I'll screenshot it to you. Hold on.
Okay.
I'll screenshot.
Linwood Brennan.
I'm not good with names. That's why usually I say I'm sorry if I butcher your name.
Might as well just name her. What is it? Rena Ravenclaw.
Pretty much. Here, I sent it to you. Should be coming to you any minute. No, but I could see it. I just, again, I think going forward, I think Josh cannot have what Iger had, where it's the board or where he's part of the board and he's the CEO. It has to be one or the other. On top of that, I would like to see Damaro not meddle in Lucasfilm projects. Maybe he can consult him and
yes, it's Linwen Brennan.
Lenwin. God, that's going to be a hard name to remember. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm going to have to try. But yeah, Linwen. Linwen. Yeah.
Gosh, that's a tongue twister.
It is. Yeah, Linwen. Like,
Yep, pretty much. It's ridiculous. Oh my God. No, but Josh and Dana Walden, if I kind of feel like if they let the new leadership of Lucasfilm kind of do or kind of have a little more of a looser leash on projects and not meddle in projects like Iger was exposed during that New York Times article, I think Lucasfilm is only going to get better. They have believe me, they have a lot more damage control than Iger had to do in the 3 years cleaning up Chapek's mess, or just as much. So they have a lot to clean up over there. But I think if they have more free roam than they had under Iger's leadership, I think we could see Lucasfilm recover. Not 100%, but better than what they are.
I agree. Lucasfilm is going to have to go through a massive reset.
Yeah. Now, to be honest with you, and I know a lot of people would disagree with me, I think the only two projects, literally the only two projects that I really liked coming from Kathleen Kennedy and her leadership was Rogue One and the Obi-Wan and the Obi-Wan series. Everything after that was kind of and hold on. And the first two seasons of The Mandalorian.
Were you a fan of Andor?
What?
Were you a fan of Andor? Not really.
Yeah, not really. I'm just being honest with you. Not really.
Hey, yeah. Hey, it is what it is. No, I agree with you with Rogue One. I would say, yeah, I would say definitely the first season of Mandalorian. I would say the first half of season 2. And
Yeah.
then I don't know what direction they were going with season 3. Welcome in, John. Make it rain. But where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so yeah, I agree with you with that. Even the comeback of Willow.
Yes.
Like, remember they did, like, that was a major blunder, and they were like really pushing for that series to work. And I really wanted Willow to work because I loved the 80s movie.
Sure.
And the fact that that was a major blunder. And then also with the last installment of Indiana Jones, I actually didn't the Dial of Destiny. I didn't hate the movie, but I didn't love it.
Yeah.
I was kind of like in the middle with that.
Okay, so I finally saw it after all this time because I've been busy and whatnot. I didn't even see it in theaters. I wanted to, but things happened and I couldn't do it. So I finally watched it on Disney Plus a couple months ago.
Oh, so this is just recently?
This just recently, and I don't know. I might be biased. I might be biased. Did I think the movie was fantastic? No. Did I think it was decent? Yeah. But kind of like what I am a fanboy of, like Gordon Ramsay or Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm always going to be a fanboy of Harrison Ford.
Of course.
So him being
you'll appreciate it for that, definitely.
Exactly.
And I'm right there with you with that. I would appreciate, because he was very emotional when he was talking about it during a D23 and everything. Because I mean, let's face it, he is Indiana Jones. Like,
oh yeah, there is no other.
You know, but is it memorable enough for me to watch it like Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom? Not really. I really hate to say that.
And I hate to even say this, out of all 3 original Indianas, Temple of the Doom is the one I hate. And I know I'm probably going to get hate for that and all sorts of comments, but out of the 3, I think it would have to be The Last Crusade with him and Sean Connery. Absolute favorite. The second one would have to be
Raiders.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. The third one would have to be Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, even though I don't agree how Shia LaBeouf freaking broke out in the fight with Harrison Ford on set. I don't agree with that. And he's been snobby ever since the Transformers series. And then the 5th would have to be Dial of Destiny. And literally the 6th one would have to be Temple of Doom. The only reason I say Temple of Doom, it was kind of weird, dude. Like, he's in a cave, he gets possessed. You know, there's all these mythical creatures. It just gets weird. It's like kind of like, okay, this is getting like literally off the rails. But that's for me, though. That's literally for me.
I think for me, it goes Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Last Crusade, Temple of Doom, Crystal Skull, Dial of Destiny.
Okay. And that's a fair analogy. It's just me trying to associate Harrison.
Oh, well, yeah, everyone's going to have their favorite. You know, everyone's going to have their thing. But kind of going back to that, I mean, everyone thought, like, if this new Indiana Jones movie was going to be a fail, they thought Kathleen Kennedy was going to be on the chopping block then.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious to see the direction that they go. I mean, obviously they won't go probably another Indiana Jones
No.
movie, unless
No.
they do like maybe like an animated kind of series or
Yeah.
something.
They-
Live action with Harrison Ford, that's done.
Yeah, that's done because he's actually doing a TV series on Apple TV, where he plays a psychologist. And he said literally once that show is finalized, I don't know how many more seasons he has signed up for, but once that show is done, he is officially going into retirement.
Oh, did
So-
he say that?
He did say that. He made a comment. So
Yeah, I think for the many decades that he gave us great cinema and everything, I think he deserves it.
oh, dude, I'm telling you right now, some of his best movies, freaking like we've talked about, Indiana Jones. You have, Han in the Star Wars original trilogy movies. You have him playing in The Fugitive with Tommy Lee Jones.
Love that movie. Love
dude. That was an awesome movie. Then you had him playing the President of the United States in
Air Force One, baby.
Yeah.
Love that movie.
Yeah, there we go. Oh my gosh. And then the fact that he even reprised his role as Indy for Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and Dial of Destiny. Then you had him reprise his role in the new, well, controversial Star Wars series from Kathleen Kennedy's era. You have him playing in the TV series on Apple Plus. I finally remember the name. It's called Shrinking. Then you had him in smaller parts. So like George mentioned, Harrison Ford has had a lot of projects in Hollywood over the decades. So
do you know another movie I loved he was in? Actually, my mom introduced it to me because it's sort of what you call like, it's borderline like a chick flick kind of thing, but I absolutely love the movie Working Girl with Melanie Griffith and Sigourney Weaver.
yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. I saw that actually last summer on TV.
Yeah, very, very good movie.
Yeah, that was an awesome movie, like by far. That was awesome. But I do agree with you. If they do decide to make a new Indiana Jones, it will be animated. I don't think they're ready yet to actually do another live action Indiana with another actor that's going to take over Indiana Jones. I think they're going to just kind of let it settle. Let the company recuperate, let the restructure and rebuild happen at Lucasfilm before they even consider something like that.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, and actually, I want to go to a couple of the comments. So Justin, I do apologize if I'm mispronouncing your last name. Daub. And this is actually interesting. I think recording lines for the Animal Kingdom attraction might be the last indie-related thing Harrison Ford ever does, if he does it at all. That's going to be very interesting because I know he did not record anything for the Indiana Jones attraction out here because I think there was a lot of legal issues with that, that they couldn't compromise on like legalities of.
oh, jeez.
Okay, so Justin, it's Dobby. Is it Dobby? I think I'm pronouncing that like in Harry Potter, but that would be Dobby. Ignore me, Justin. I just like completely just like went off the thing. But if I pronounce that Dobby, I guess. Well, here's the thing. Well, no, that's still Dobby. Ignore me. Anyway, so I think Justin, if I think I got it correctly, Dobby. Okay. Yeah, because I think there was like a lot of like issues.
Yeah.
With the voiceover work. Now I don't know if they recovered from that and maybe they will have him, maybe if they have him in his good graces to say, you know what, why don't you go out with a bang, being that the Dial of Destiny rhymes with Dobby. Yeah, okay, perfect. Okay,
there you go.
that maybe but Justin, definitely welcome in. That maybe if they tell him like privately, we know the Dial of Destiny, you're still very proud of it, but it didn't do very well. Why don't you solidify your mark in the Disney parks like you were supposed to
Sure.
and do voiceover work, because he really wouldn't have a whole lot of work to do. Take him into a recording studio and he records his lines. I mean, that's not so.
It's
I
not
think
that
that would
hard.
be. I think that would be.
That'd
I
be
think that would
awesome.
be very wise. Yeah.
So we're gonna read one more comment because I want to end because I got another show to do at 8 and George has some plans as well. But I'm gonna bring up this comment from Giant Peter's Adventure. There was that rumor that Chris Pratt was going to be Indy for a long time, but it seemed to die down. Do you think that that's talked about in the near future? Because Chris Pratt actually played Owen in the new Jurassic World movies, and now that they're talking about possibly doing another Jurassic World, maybe that's again, don't take that fate to heart. But
Well, I mean, Rebirth. I mean, Jurassic Rebirth. I mean, did very well at the box office.
it did.
Regardless of how people actually feel about the movie, I mean, it made some buco bucks.
Yeah. And it's interesting, not to go on a tangent, but it's interesting because they were talking about that. They were talking about Chris Pratt reprising his role as Owen. On top of that, I was just at Universal today, and I walked in the main Universal store. And what I found the funniest thing ever, I have never seen so much Jurassic World merch ever in my life. And it was a mixture between Jurassic World and Jurassic Park merch. I'm like, what in the hell's going on here? So it's possible because if you think about it as well, for the Super Bowl, it's been talked about online. They've shown clips of it, but the original characters from the original 1993 movie of Jurassic Park actually teamed up with Xfinity. We had Jeff Goldblum, we had Sam O'Neill, and I forgot the female's name.
Laura Dern.
Laura Dern. They actually reprised their roles of those characters and actually did a commercial that will be airing for the Super Bowl.
I'm glad you brought that up because I know you have to go, but actually that was going to be the last topic that I had.
Well, let's go for it.
Okay, perfect. So, and this is why I wanted to bring it up and how it kind of works in with Disney, because the thought of AI was brought up to both Bob Iger and Josh D'Amaro during their ABC interview, and how the company is going to move forward with AI. And this is where Disney, and I think even Universal, has to be careful. And I'm glad you brought up that ad, because I was going to bring up that ad and I thought, oh, this is perfect because you brought up about Chris Pratt being in Jurassic, and I'm like, oh, perfect segue. Here is, I thought it was very clever. I thought it was very well done because they put the characters back in their 1993 state.
Yep.
But I have a little problem with it.
Uh-oh.
When I went and I watched the ad, the AI on it is a little bit cringy at times.
Is it?
And I feel like it kind of takes away of the actor's performance. And I say AI because it's like that. They utilized it actually for Harrison Ford in The Dial of Destiny in the very beginning of the movie, where they de-aged him. And I would have rather them utilize the actors in their real looking form, but just pay tribute to Jurassic rather than put them back in time and kind of go through this kind of like odd looking AI generation kind of thing. And as I said, how does that go back to Disney is because they are going to utilize, I mean, it was $1 billion investment with AI, and Disney has to be careful with that, and also Universal.
Yes, I do agree with you. And I want to just touch upon this real quick since you mentioned that. What part of that as AI? Because all I saw from the behind the scenes, because they also showed a behind the scenes look of that commercial with Xfinity, was that basically they gave all three of the actors their original clothes that they wore in 1993. Jeff Goldblum's hair got dyed back black. Sam O'Neill shaved his face. and dyed his hair back. Laura Dern wore her original outfit. So
Well,
I'm just trying to figure out what was
they literally, if you look at like their skin, like they made it very smooth.
okay.
Like they de-aged them. They turned them back into their
Got it.
1993 characters, so to speak.
Oh, got it. Oh,
So I would have
okay.
rather them utilize them, but let them be in the current, in the now sort of thing.
Well,
Kind of.
would you have been okay if they didn't use AI to de-age them, but they still took all the other aspects, like dyeing Jeff Goldblum's hair, then Sam O'Neill?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, put them in their put them in their clothes. Have Sam shave, dye Jeff Goldblum's hair, give him that like curly, wavy kind of like 90s Bobby World look, if you will. And yeah, I would be okay with that. But I can understand why they de-age them, because they put John Hammond back in the picture. So they couldn't make them too old, because he would then still be alive. So I thought it was clever in how they were utilizing Xfinity. I'm not bashing the ad. I think it was very clever. But I'm just saying these companies have to be careful of how they use AI, because sometimes it is very known, and sometimes there's certain expressions that the actors make with the AI, and it's a little bit cringy looking.
It is cringy. And again, not to go on the tangent, but we had 2 movies that utilize this technology with fake or facial recognition. Was, Paul Walker, his brother, played him and showed his face. And then we also had from, I think it was Halloween Kills with Michael Myers, when they brought back Dr. Loomis, and they had someone on the crew, the filming crew, actually, believe it or not, that actually kind of looked like Dr. Loomis, but you could tell a difference. So they kind of, threw a costume on him, kind of changed his hairstyle a little bit, and they kind of used that AI facial, reconstruction on his face, and they were able to bring back Dr. Loomis for that little flashback to the 1981, scene in Halloween Kills. So there are times they do use it, and it's successful, even though we know the history of the actor that is no longer with us. They do accomplish it well, but there's times, like you said, it gets too weird.
Yeah. And Giant Peter Adventure says Marvel created a de-aging CGI that does not use AI. They could have just used that. That's very true. But my thing is, just speaking just with AI, where maybe they didn't use the AI for that. I'm not sure, because even with Harrison Ford with Indiana Jones, and also Mark Hamill in Star Wars, they kind of de-aged them, so they could have used that as well. Technically, Princess Leia and the other character in Rogue One too. Yeah, because they had to use the actress to look like Carrie Fisher at the end of Rogue One. But but really quick, I wanted to give a shout out, yes, to Mr. Robert Sprite for saying hello to us. So welcome in, Robert. But I'm just saying, just AI in general.
Sure.
When you go on these YouTube shorts and Facebook shorts that utilize AI, you can still kind of look at when they utilize the performer or the actor, that you can tell it's AI. So it's not there yet. You can see that they're working on it, but they're still kind of in that cringy era with AI. So while they are, Disney just has to be careful. And as I said, Universal as well. So it doesn't look too cringy.
And it doesn't look too fake. You know what I mean? Because, again, like you pointed out with the whole commercial with Xfinity, with Sam O'Neill looking like he was freaking 20 years old, and Jeff Goldblum, it's like, no, that's not reality. Now, like you said, I do agree with you. If Sam O'Neill wanted just shaved, dyed his hair, put on the old outfit, same thing with Jeff Goldblum, I think we wouldn't have been good with that. but again, I understand why they did it, because they brought back John Hammond, which technically he's been dead for over 15, 20 years. So I get why they did it, but again, is that something that hurts the brand? Because Jurassic Park, I have to be honest with you, is like the original trilogy with Star Wars.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Jurassic Park is Steven Spielberg actually did something of a project with dinosaurs that worked.
Yeah. So that's another question I have is, does it damage the brand by doing something like that? And not to say that Xfinity did a horrible job. I thought they did a wonderful job.
I think they did. I thought it was very creative.
The fact that them and Universal Comcast were able to get Sam O'Neill, Jeff Goldblum, and Lauren Dunn in the same room, put on the old costumes and all that stuff, and reprise their roles was
nostalgic.
Oh, dude, that was awesome, because we all saw it with not Rebirth, but the movie before that, and Sam O'Neill and Jeff Goldblum and Laura Dern reprised their roles.
What was Dominion?
Dominion. Sam O'Neill looked tired, man. He looked tired.
Yeah.
And I think he has cancer as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. I think he was going through, from what I've understood, either that's when he got the diagnosis, or if he was going for his treatments.
Yeah.
And he definitely looked tired and everything. And that's probably, so for him to actually come back and do this commercial and everything, I applaud him. I really do.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. And the fact that I was on the studio tour and I saw him drive by on the golf cart, that was hilarious.
That's cool. And I mean, and everyone who is on the studio tour right now, this is like the best time to be going on the Universal Studio tour.
Dude.
Because they're seeing the cast of Jumanji, they're seeing the cast of the Super Mario Brothers movie. Just recently, Jack Black like walked up to the tram and was like high-fiving everybody down the line. It was like,
oh, dude.
I mean, because Jack Black was there for both Super Mario Brothers and Jumanji, so he was there for both. And then Chris Pratt was there also waving for the Super Mario Brothers movie. Someone saw Kevin Hart walking like his Jumanji outfit and everything, and
then you had Dwayne Johnson, who actually stopped the tram.
He stopped and here's the thing: when Dwayne Johnson wants something done, you don't question it; you just do it.
No, and he gave a great homage to. He's like, I'm so glad to be back on the Universal Studios lot. I haven't been back here since the Scorpion King. And it's so great to be back to my old roots and to meet all you. And he literally went up and down the tram and said hi to everybody.
He did. He literally took the time to go row by row, train, like car by car of the tram. He actually took time.
No, absolutely. And Justin says you're more likely to see talent on the weekdays, as most studios don't film on the weekends.
Very true. Yes.
But everybody, again, I want to thank you for joining this live stream. Make sure to like and subscribe to both HaloGelato and Theme Park Conductor. You guys in the chat have been absolutely amazing. Big shout out to Madam Lizelle and Chris West for the super chats. Absolutely amazing. Love the support. You guys are all amazing. And then if you guys are at the Disneyland Resort tomorrow, for anybody, me and George will be at DCA tomorrow and Friday. So if you do see us, George is easier to spot, even though I stick out like a sore thumb because I'm tall.
Yeah, you could spot Conductor from his height. You could spot me by my mouth.
Pretty much. You're like, who's that Italian guy speaking over there? Oh, that's George. Okay.
Yep.
No,
you can hear me a mile away.
you can, but it's awesome though. But if you see us in the park, please come say hello. It's definitely comforting to us to interact with all you guys in the parks. It's a great time. So don't feel like you're interrupting us if we're filming. That's what that's what the stop and pause button on the camera does for us. So we don't mind it. Just come say hello. But thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful night. But before we do, George, again, thank you for joining this live stream. Where can everyone find you on social media?
Absolutely. And Conductor, thank you so much for having me on the live. I love doing these lives with you. I love doing content with you. I love hanging out with you. You're a cool cat. You're absolutely hilarious. And as much as I make you laugh, you actually make me laugh. It's just, I don't know, because you have this sort of kind of reaction to things, and it's all like very sardonic, but that's what makes it so funny.
We have this kinetic energy. I don't know where the hell it comes from, but we have it. It's there.
Yeah, we do. We are literally the odd couple. We are Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau.
Yep. 100%.
But in any case, Conductor, thank you so much for having me on, and looking forward seeing you tomorrow and all the chaos that's going to be going on through the next 2 days. And thank you, Ed, to the chat. As always, you guys are phenomenal with your questions, comments, thoughts, opinions. We greatly appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time to jumping on and hanging with us and chatting with us. You know, it means the world to us. But if everyone would like to find me on social media, you could do so on my YouTube channel, along with Abby on HaloGelato, where we cover all park stuff, breaking news, announcements, actually in-park vlogs, food reviews at Disney, Universal, Knott's Berry Farm, the cruise line. And we also do out-of-park content with special events and just life vlogs. Definitely, as I said, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because we have a plethora of content coming your way. And you could also find us on Instagram under HaloGelato.
Absolutely. And again, thank you, George, for always being a wonderful co-host. These live streams are absolutely incredible. This feels like child's play after doing an 11-hour live stream, but I still love
this
it.
does like 2.5 hours. This is like nothing.
Yeah, pretty much. But again, I'm your host, Theme Park Conductor. You can find me on YouTube and Blue Sky at Theme Park Conductor, Instagram at theme_park_conductor, on X at Theme Conductor, TikTok at Theme Park Conductor 1, and every Sunday at 5 or 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Conductor Sunday live stream, as we break down Disney and Universal news. We speculate, we talk rumors. The chat comes in and interacts with us. We interact with the chat. We have a lot of things we talk about. We giggle, we laugh. George gives his wild, spicy Italian opinions. We have other guests that do very unique things as well. It's a great time. But again, I want to thank everybody for joining. Have a wonderful night. Stay cool if you're in Southern California or on the West Coast, because it feels like we're going through a damn heat wave. Or if you're in the Midwest, or I should say Mid-East or back east.
Everywhere else other than the West Coast.
I know. Go figure, right? Especially after the groundhog freaking says 6 more weeks of winter, but we're the only ones not in winter.
As I said, thank God I'm not over on that side, because if I was, I would have been tempted to shish kebab his ass.
And George would do it too. He would literally travel to that little area and say, okay, where are you at? Where are you at? Where are you at? I'm going to hunt you down like Elmer Fudd. Where are you at? Where are you at? I kid you not. It's not a make-believe. It's actually true. But everybody have a wonderful night. I will see you guys very, very soon.